Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with CircWorks, and this is Beyond 100 Days of Making Comics, where I pick up where I left off on my 100 Days of Making Comics journey. What that is, that's where you spend at least 30 minutes a day, every day, to work on your own personal comic book project, and you do that for 100 days straight. And then hopefully after that, you continue on and kind of do what I'm doing, where now instead of doing daily updates, I'm doing like a weekly updates, but I'm still trying to put in the same amount of time that I was doing when I was doing the challenge. And you know, just a little recap. I'm sure most of you, everyone that's watching this, probably understand the concept behind it, but you know, you may say like 30 minutes, that's not a whole lot of time, but it's basically a way to when you've got these busy schedules, whether either you got a day job or whatever, or you've just got client projects, or with the guy who started, Kevin Cross, I'm sure you're all familiar with him. He's got this huge graphic novel project that he's doing, and it just takes up so much of his time, just crazy, you know, crazy amount of work that needs to be done in a certain amount of time. So he needed to find a way to work on his own passion projects. So he came up with this idea: spend at least 30 minutes a day, and then hopefully, you know, all the time will accumulate and you'll get your projects done. And that's kind of pretty much the same boat I've been in. Sometimes I put a little more, usually no less than that. That's the whole idea. You don't want to do less than that. And when you do, then you let people know about it via YouTube or whatever, you know, social media platform you're working on. Let people know, and that kind of holds you accountable, and you get your stuff done. And you know, it takes a while. I did the 100 Days challenge, and I've done these weekly updates. I don't know how many we're up to now, but it's coming along, and I've reached another step in the process of my comic book, Young and the Dead. It's like kids versus zombies. It's, if you were to cross Goonies and Night of the Living Dead, that'll kind of give you an idea what it's all about. But it's just my homage to 80s kid-centric adventure films. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've got the two first issues available on my store at circworks.com, and I'll talk a little more about that later in this episode. Working on the third, and I'm rounding the corner on that. One of the, you know, if you've been watching for the past, I think 3 episodes, you'll know that I've been doing the flat coloring, and you've been probably hearing me complain about that, because it really is kind of the part you don't, the one thing you don't really want to do as far as comic books, because it's not as creative and it just takes time and everything. But that's where you add, like I said, you add flat colors. Even if your book's in black and white like mine, the interior anyway, it does have shading and everything. So you drop down all these flat colors, then you can just go and select those different shapes, and then you can shade them in and everything like that. And I suppose there's other ways to do it if you just wanted to go straight in and paint everything, you know, like I would say either by hand. I guess you could do that, or in the computer or whatever. But for me, it's easier. I think it's easier to do the flat coloring, because as long as it takes, I still think it cuts some time down compared to just you know, adding the shading to begin with and moving on from there and everything. But anyway, that part of the project is done. So now I'm going to go in and start doing my shading and everything. And then after that, it's adding the lettering. And the only thing I haven't done as far as flat coloring or any coloring is the cover. And I think I'm just going to save that to the end, and that'll kind of be the grand finale for this thing. So I'm looking forward to that. But I am just happy that I finished flat coloring. And I was hoping I don't know. I didn't actually log my time. I don't know. I think I spent it. I still think, yeah. I know I put in the 30 minutes a day cumulatively. So, but I was hoping to have a little more time and get further along in this, but there's just been so much other stuff going on right now. I've been really trying to start the process of doing some rebranding for CircWorks, and it's still very similar to, if you've been following, what it's been like. But there's some minor changes and some things that I've been wanting to do for a while, and so I've kind of jumped in and started doing some of that. So if you guys are interested, you go to my website. It's circworks.com, SERKWORKS, and there'll be a link in the descriptions. But I'm moving towards changing the name. and I usually just say CircWorks in general, but it's always been CircWorks illustration and design with character. It's kind of the tagline, and kind of, that's, if you get an email from me, that's pretty much what it says, or that's the descriptor, I guess. But nowadays, there are a few reasons for me kind of changing it. But nowadays, it seems like everybody wants to be a character designer, or everyone fancies themselves to be, or there are positions at companies that are solely just for character design. Now, back, I don't want to show my age too much, but back when I started doing CircWorks, that was kind of a niche for me. My whole thing was, I would do client works, and I do, identity packages and branding, but my niche was to go after projects where I can incorporate some sort of character design, whether it's a trademark or whatever, or just some characters involved in whatever that branding strategy was. So I still do that, but now I'm kind of getting more towards moving away from doing as much client work and concentrating more on just my own thing, and starting to build, doing shows and conventions and things, and starting to build, I've got products and things like that. So I'm trying to focus a little more on that. And if you're familiar with CircWorks, kind of the whole look of it, it's always been sort of a mad scientist laboratory type feel. And then sometimes, at my signs at the conventions, it'll say CircWorks Labs. So I've always been moving towards the CircWorks Labs, but what I finally decided on is just CircWorks Art Lab, because I think it needs to be more descriptive, because it get very confusing if it's just CircWorks Labs, and if you don't dive deeper into what exactly that is. I just want something. At first glance, when you look at CircWorks Art Labs, I do artwork. So it's not some medical type thing or whatever. And the labs, it's fun. It's creative. It's we're experimenting with things and everything. So that's kind of what I'm going towards. So soon everything will kind of be under this CircWorks Labs banner. But now, if you go on to my website, you'll see the headers changed a little bit. The style, and kind of the identity that I'm trying to capture, and the branding and everything, is still very similar to what it was, but I think it's just a little more clear. So, now in big white letters, it'll say CircWorks Art Lab, whereas before, we kind of had a more complicated logo, which I'm still using for certain things, because it's kind of, it works with my CircWorks Labs backdrop and everything that I use for the conventions. It's kind of, it's got the gear and everything, which I still use, but now I've got a different little trademark, which the head of my CircWork hinge minions, the little robot hinge minions that you may have seen. But yeah, I'm just trying to make it a little more clear. So that's what's going on. That's what I've been spending a lot of my time with, getting all that set up. And I recently updated my gallery section, which is, it's like the client work and things that I do. So there's some cool stuff on there, a lot of game design, a lot of UI design, and that type of stuff that I've been concentrating on for, the past few years as far as professionally. Now, it's weird because, if you read my blog, you'll see more of my personal work, and I'll throw stuff up there. And I don't update it as much as I should, but that stuff is up there. So I don't know. In a way, I'm thinking it would be nice to set up a separate gallery just to show my own stuff. But right now, it's in the shop, and it's the problem, I guess, is when I want people to see my personal work, I have to send them to my shop, and I don't want to come off like I'm trying to sell them something. But if somebody wants to know what it looks like, the best place to go is the shop, and you can see all the different prints and stuff I design, and that's really what I'm trying to concentrate on here. So I don't know how well that works, but I guess I'll just throw that out to you guys. If you have any comments on that or whatever, let me know. But so that's kind of where I am. What else is going on? Not much. Still, doing the Fan Art Fridays. Every Friday we do a fan art thing. Last week I did this one, and I picked up this sketch cover. This is the first one I've ever done, so I don't know if you saw that video or not, but picked up the Archie sketch cover. And if you're not familiar with sketch covers, it's basically like a comic book, but it has a blank cover with the letterhead up here, and then you just draw your sketch. So I drew the kind of the newer version of Archie, which you can kind of see here. That's the relaunch for Archie #1, as you can. It's kind of blurring out right there, but so yeah, that was fun, and I think the second issue's out right now, so I'll have to go up and get that because it was a lot of fun. So I might do more of these sketch covers. I don't know, but we're gonna keep doing that, and still in the background working on my set design and everything to do something a little more elaborate, but don't know exactly when that's going to happen. Still want to concentrate on the comic book and all that, but that's kind of what I've been up to, and that is my update for this week. And next week, hopefully, I'll be able to show you some of the shading techniques I do for Young and the Dead. But yeah, I hope everyone else is doing well with the 100s challenge. Anyone that's taking it, anyone that's thinking about taking it, I highly recommend it because it's done amazing things for me and getting the comic book done. And I'm even looking forward to starting the next comic book, issue 4. Maybe a little premature right now, but it'll come up sooner than I think. So anyway, that's what's going on, and I'll talk to you guys later. That is all.